Welcome to the Do Good X podcast, a sanctuary from the entrepreneurial grind. Hosts Kimberly Danielle and Stephen Lewis, advocates for impactful entrepreneurship, guide you on the path where purpose meets business. Join us to slow down, reconnect, and explore the challenges of under-resourced entrepreneurs, uncovering the unique journey of building businesses that make a difference. Now, your host.
Welcome to the Do Good X podcast. My name is Stephen Lewis, and I'm a catalyst for positive change in communities and businesses. For over 2 decades, I've inspired leaders and entrepreneurs to live and work on purpose with intention, their faith, and a commitment to their well-being. And I'm joined here today with my co-host, Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, Stephen, and hey to everyone who is tuning in. My name is Kimberly Danielle, and I am a community builder, a coach, and a communication strategist who comes from generations of faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs who believe that our purpose should drive us all to contribute to the common good. So today we're going to revisit another conversation, and this one is with Rachel Wilson, who is an incredible leader in the world of capital access and operations strategy. Over her career, she has helped to raise and manage over $100 million in funding for Black and Brown entrepreneurs. And in this particular episode, she breaks down a lot of what can often be confusing and maybe even intimidating language in venture capital. So she talks about it in a way that's very clear and practical, and I really appreciate that about this particular episode.
Yeah, Rachel, she's able to take really kind of complex concepts and terms and really make them simple. And I do think, she offers just so much practicality when it comes to this subject matter of wealth and venture capital in that regard. So we're going to chat about everything from seed stage funding and private equity to exit strategies and building the right relationships with investors. Now, while this episode comes from her time at BFM Fund, Rachel has since moved on to become the founding partner at Project Wellspring, where she continues to build and grow in her work. Now, Project Wellspring is a next generation philanthropic platform that turns capital into dynamic tools for change, connecting underfunded communities with resources and opportunities that traditional systems often overlook.
What Rachel shares in this episode, even though we're going back to it, something that we've recorded before, is still very, very relevant, especially if you're looking to grow your business, you're looking to understand investors or the language that exists in that realm, or you wanted to just learn how to access capital. So stay tuned as we jump back in. So what led you to the venture capital space, and what continues to drive your work in this particular space?
That's a really great question, Kimberly. One, thank you guys again for letting me be here and be able to talk to your audience about this. Capital access, entrepreneurship, bootstrapping, wealth generation are all things that really matter a lot to me, just because I grew up around it. And that's really what the center of everything really landed on in terms of how I got into the space, or why I was purposeful in trying to figure out ways to be involved in this space. My dad is a serial entrepreneur, a service disabled veteran. And ever since I could remember, he was always building a thing, starting a business, and trying to grow it, and a lot of times bootstrapping it, and also, as he would call it, doing that through sticks and bricks, and not necessarily going through your regular means of trying to figure out how to get capital. It was everything has to be sales and revenue driven. So that was always my exposure to entrepreneurship, and also saw the need for, like, man, if there was capital available or resources with better terms available, he would probably be able to do more, work faster, what he was doing. And so that was really I would say, catalyst for why I really wanted to get into venture. It didn't happen for some time. I know a lot of people try to get into venture, and it is very much an apprenticeship type of space. And so you either got to know someone or start somewhere from like an analyst or intern, really, in order to get opportunities there. And so for me, it really just came about through building up my own skills in an operational perspective. So then that way I could parlay it into different types of industries, which is why I was involved in so many different places and different industries and segments. And that allowed me to get access to folks who were building firms, building funds, specifically investing into into Black startups.
Can you share with listeners who might be early in the entrepreneurial journey, what is a seed stage venture and what would make a business VC ready for the BFM fund?
Yes. So that's a very loaded question, Stephen. And so I don't have time today to go through the education of all things VC, but I'm going to break it down to hopefully give some context before I say like how the BFM fund looks at it. So when folks hear the word venture capital, it really is all about, do you have a business that has the ability to be innovative, has the ability to take over a particular market or be able to control a certain aspect of it, get some market share, and be able to exit in a certain time frame. So then that way all the folks that have put money into your business are able to get some type of return through a liquidity event. And when I say liquidity event, that essentially means a moment in time where your business is being sold, merged, purchased, um, going, taking a portion of whatever shares of equity that you have, and being able to get some return on that investment. And essentially, venture capital is a business in itself. It's people trying to find businesses that can flip themselves for a return of a minimum of 3x. And then there's a lot more that goes into that, but that's like at this very simplest level, how do venture capitalists find a company they can flip to get them a return of a certain amount so that they can pay themselves and, most importantly, pay their investors who believe that they can find amazing businesses to return capital to them. And so when you ask about the BFM fund, we are um, in the asset class of private equity, and under private equity sits venture capital. What we invest in is seed stage companies up to Series A. So meaning companies that have gotten to a certain level of revenue growth, they've gotten a good amount of market share, and now they're in need of larger amount of dollars, large amount of resources that can help them to maximize even more of the market that they're going after, be able to get into larger contraction opportunities or gain more users, depending on what type of business they have or consumers, buyers. And so our company invests at seed to Series A. We need companies that have some level of traction, meaning there are customers that want to buy the things that they're selling. They see that there's an actual use case. The business is customer centric. So they're not just focused on just the product and getting, or just the business or the service having awareness. They really care about what their customers think, why they want to buy what they're selling, that they understand the nuances of how to get them to buy their product or service as well. And then additionally for us, we also care about what exit looks like. So in certain cases with some VC firms, they'll see a company and say, oh man, these founders are great. We like what they're doing. They do have some traction, some movement, maybe some sales, a good amount of users. And so let's go ahead and give them some capital and see how it goes. Well, we do a lot more proactive work because, like I said at the beginning, the whole point of venture is to get you to have an exit so then that they can return capital to who? Themselves and their investors. So when you think about taking venture capital money, you have to keep that in mind that is the VCs, the venture capitalists' end goal. And so for us, because we're investing specifically into Black founders that are looking for venture capital, we don't want all of them to fail. We want majority of them to have the ability to go through an exit. We don't want them to go through this process, get to a point of needing capital, can't raise that capital, and then we as a firm only focus on the few who seem to be able to return those dollars. Well, we want to do a lot of work in the beginning to allow for you to get to that exit point. It won't be everybody, but as much as we possibly can, have majority of the business's exit. And so what that means for us is we're working a lot with private equity firms, roll-up firms. We're working with a lot of folks who look to be strategics or purchase or buy, or even people who are looking to do entrepreneurship through acquisition. And so we're working with a lot of those firms to understand, would this company, if they meet certain parameters, be a good purchase for you in your portfolio later on? So then that way, majority of our companies can have that exit opportunity. They too may not be a unicorn, as we say in our industry. They may not be a unicorn, but at least they're being able to get to a point of having that exit, which creates wealth, which allows for them to maybe build a family office, be able to invest into other opportunities philanthropically or different asset classes. By having that exit, it just creates optionality, creates options for the founder, for their family, regardless if the family wants to take on the business or not. And then they can parlay that into building another new thing or selling another new thing, which does definitely happen a lot in the private equity space.
So I'm just curious, in terms of the people who come to BFM, to what extent are Black and Brown founders really thinking about exits that may not be in the kind of technology side of the entrepreneurial journey?
That's a great question, Stephen, because unfortunately, VC has been romanticized. And there's a great space for venture capital. It is a needed component as part of the capital stack. But it's not the only thing, and it's not the only way to go after capital and raise capital. Albeit that there are other capital resources, but sometimes those also cannot be attainable. Debt, for instance. Or there might be resources out there that the government, federal government, or even municipal is offering, but people just aren't aware of those options. And so I think what I always say for us is that knowledge is a huge part of this process too, because you don't know what you don't know. And when you see people out there that look like you or don't look like you, and mostly don't, are getting all these dollars from venture capitalists, you're like, man, like, how do I get this money? How do I go after this bag too? And then you get disheartened because you're like, I'm not able to access this capital. And why is it that I'm not able to get further along in these conversations with these folks? And raising money is a challenge. Our fund is raising too, and we definitely find it a challenging market right now to get access to allocators out there as well. And so it's really important from a founder perspective when they're thinking about exits, especially brown and black founders, whether they're small businesses or they're looking for venture, if they're a SaaS business or innovative company that is non-tech but has the ability to scale. Again, it just goes back to thinking through in the beginning what that looks like. And so not just talking about the venture type of business, because a lot of times it's just SaaS tech, but let's talk about like you had mentioned, I'm a restaurant owner and I'm building a company. I'm building a great, firm business. We've got great people coming in all the time. Is that type of business going to get venture dollars? Most likely not, just because venture dollars are looking for something that is going to scale. Debt would probably be a better option, but sometimes debt can have not the best terms. So what community development foundations and institutions could do, like CDFIs, those would probably be a better suite of debt products that small businesses can use. But even then, that could potentially be far and few in between. And so it's really important for small businesses to really think through in the very beginning, if they can, what does it look like to get to certain revenue numbers? Like, let me really fully think through my expenses. What can I take on? What other partners can I bring in? Maybe it's friends and family, angels that I can talk to build a thing. Maybe I start something really small. I'm a food truck before I'm a big, box business and get a lease that I can't afford right now. Or, I have lofty dreams of, man, I'm gonna put down $100K for this lease. I'm gonna get all these customers, but you maybe still haven't fully thought through what if that does not work out in the way that you're thinking. So I love to tell founders, whether they are looking for venture or they're, small businesses, it's okay to start with something small and grow the revenue, see the traction, see that people are trying to come after and go after your business. Before you start putting too much money or maxing out credit cards and all the things to do the business. I personally see that. My dad has done, things like that. I've done that when I've tried to start up businesses, and I've learned over the years that starting small, really trying to make that initial impact with the concept is really key first, and seeing whether the market wants it or not. And if the market wants it, it'll grow and develop, and then you'll see a lot of opportunity from there. But you gotta really do a lot of proactive diligence and work on where the opportunities lie first with your business. And hopefully you're thinking about what that looks like from a exit potential, which I think more and more brown and black businesses need to do more of.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.